This is how we roam and harvest.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode with Roam and Harvest. We are up here in northwest Wisconsin. We are here at the Golden Buck Ranch with my dad, Kevin Hoagie. And today we're going to go over some land management practices. So to jump into it, how long have you owned the property?
Roughly 30 years. It's 380 acres of woods, food plots.
Mm-hmm. How many food plots do you have?
Oh boy.
Bunch of them.
We got a bunch of them. Most of them aren't real big. The biggest one is like 5 acres.
Yeah.
We got a couple out here that are 1.5 acres, and then we got a whole pile of 1/4 acre size ones.
And it's going to be interesting because we wanted to make this episode to show the level of passion and time and money that goes into managing a large piece of property, especially for hunting. So it's going to be exciting to see what you do on a day-to-day basis throughout the year to get ready for a hunting season, you know, where you may take 1 or 2 deer a year. So it's going to be exciting. We're really looking forward to seeing how you manage this land and how you grow really, really big bucks here.
Perfect.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, so right now this is the southern border of the property. This will be the southwest corner of the 380 acres. So what we'll do now is we'll go up here and go into the property, and I'll take you all the way to the back corner, see what it looks like. So this area that we just came across, we call this the old beaver dam, because this was a beaver dam once upon a time. We just kind of level it off and use it for a road right now. There's a culvert on the end right there. But if you notice that all the trees on this end over here are all pretty much dead, the guy that used to own this property was a big duck hunter. So he used to close up the culvert on this end and flood this whole thing. So this whole area was underwater once upon a time. It looked like a great big lake. It wasn't very deep. It was only maybe 3 feet deep at the deepest, but everything was wet. So that's why there's so many trees that are dead, and they're finally starting to come back around. Okay, so this is the southern, getting close to the eastern part of the property. And this little area right here, you can see it's got a tiny little food plot in here. But it's surprising how this area right here, there's swamp on both sides of us over here. So there's a ridge line that goes through here, a kind of a ridge that goes right through here, where both the deer and the predators use this area. They don't always go down the same trail. Quite often the deer come right here, and quite often you'll see all the predators going down the trail right there. But they're all going in the same direction. They're all following this high ground, staying off the swamps on both sides. Till the back, on my neighbor's property, there's a chunk of high ground in the back. So this plot right here is 1.5 acres of soybeans. Now what I did is this spring I came in here. I shouldn't say spring. It was probably first part of June, end of May. I came in here with I have a no-till planter, and I planted this. And you're going to see that a lot of it did not come up. A lot of it, believe it or not, flooded out. So what we did is we're going to come in here, and you were talking about overseeding. I just recently sprayed this with glyphosate, Roundup. I sprayed it with glyphosate, so all of this, the weeds that are in here will be turning brown here shortly. And we're just going to overseed all this, including in between all the rows of soybeans. We're going to overseed that with a brassica mix, which includes rape, purple top turnips, daikon radishes, a bunch of different things. They'll come up. Typically they tell you not to plant it into August, but in northern Wisconsin we've had best luck planting it by mid-July. Otherwise the turnips and stuff only get to be not even the size of a baseball. This time of the year they should get the size of a softball or a kitten ball. You know, they should get pretty good size. So we'll overseed all this area right in here. There is a stand right there. That's where I shot my 10-pointer out of, and my very first turkey I ever shot was out of that stand right there. So it's a pretty good area. You'll see there's about I don't know, 2 dozen fruit trees right in there. A very combination of, well, I think those are all apples and crab apples. Okay, we're just getting ready to spray this little plot we have right here. We planted it. It was a rough log this winter, so it's not the nicest one we have. But we're just gonna we overseed it. We put some beans and corn in here, broadcast them in here. Now I'm just gonna spray it with glyphosate, and then we're going to overseed it with some brassica tonight. right, so this is about an acre and a half field here. As you can tell, we planted it into soybeans earlier this spring.
Yeah, I can see them around that edge here.
But unfortunately, we've had so much rain here. That's one issue, and the other issue, that culvert lifted up this winter, so the water hasn't been able to flow out of it, so this whole field flooded out. So what you and I were talking about was to take now and overseed this whole field with brassicas, a brassica mix that you've gotten for us. So we'll use that brassica mix, we'll overseed this whole field. We'll spray it right now with the glyphosate just to kill anything that's some of the green that's still in here.
You're not going to kill the soybeans.
It won't affect the soybeans at all.
All right, we are going to head out and do some seeding here. We have 2 larger fields and 3 small ones. How big are the larger ones?
They're each about an acre and a half apiece.
Okay, so acre and a half, and then how big are the 3 small ones?
2 of them are about a quarter of an acre. Well, let's just say we could round them all off at a quarter of an acre.
Okay.
The 3 of them are a quarter of an acre. The bigger one isn't ready to be seeded right now.
Okay, so walk me through kind of what do we have here, what are we going to do on all these fields?
Okay, on the fields we have right now, on the 2 acre and a half larger ones, we did plant soybeans in those. And the soybeans this year, we had a terrible time. We've had so much rain, so a lot of the soybeans drowned out, which is okay because it's given us, we've sprayed it with Roundup, glyphosate, and it's pretty much weed free, so we're going to overseed it with the brassicas now. And the brassicas we're going to throw in roughly at about 8 pounds to an acre. We've got a blend that we purchased, which is real similar to the stuff we just bought at the local feed mill. We've got purple top turnips, we've got the daikon radishes, and we've got dwarf rapeseed. So we'll mix those. We're going to mix those all together. We're not going to plant them separately. We'll mix those all together. We'll put those on the 2 bigger fields, and then we'll use the smaller bag to split onto the 3 little fields.
Perfect. And then for seeding it, you just overseed?
Yeah, we're just overseeding. We're not gonna till the ground at all. It's supposed to rain tomorrow and the next day, so they're talking like 0.8 tomorrow, and I don't know how much the following day, but that should be enough just to pound that seed in. You know,
Yeah.
without any weeds and stuff on it, it should be a good base.
Perfect. Anything else we should know about this overseeding?
No, I think it's absolutely a wonderful way to go. It's what is it, the middle of July right now, and we're in northwest Wisconsin. It's almost the perfect time. Typically they'll tell you not to do this until August time frame, but up here it's such a short window that typically in the past our turnips, our purple top turnips, haven't gotten very big, you know, not much bigger than golf balls, you know, bigger than golf balls. Now when we planted this time of the year, I think last year, they were the size of a softball.
Okay, and the deer don't eat those until the snow comes in, or they eat them the whole time?
It depends on how much other food is around and what the number of deer are. Typically around here, there's plenty of other food around here, so they normally don't eat them till later in the season. Once the soybeans are gone, everything else is gone, and then they start going towards them. Especially after we've had a frost or whatever, it seems like they gravitate more towards them.
Perfect. Well, let's head out there and do some overseeding.
Fantastic.
Let me just...
Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take about half of this 15 pounds right here, put it in the seeder, and we'll mix it all up. And then you can see we just got done spraying the soybeans just a little bit ago. We're going to broadcast right into the middle of the soybeans and all the areas where they're drowned out. We'll just fill those all in with the brassica mix. We're going to use this little seeder. I used to always do the hand seeding, but it ends up getting to be a lot of walking. And this small little electric seeder works real good because I can sit and watch it, and I can control the volume of the seed that's coming out. So it should work out good. And as you can see, these seeds are so tiny. They're very small. One of the things I found with a lot of the seeds, you can put it on thicker, but brassicas you do not want to put it on too thick. They get too close, they just compete against each other, and they don't grow very much. So you don't want to put it on very thick. radish seeds are the biggest, but they're still, I'm still mixing good. Everything will mix in good here. We're going to use the Nebraska blend right now. This is a one of the logging landings that they did this year. So we've got 3 landings that we're going to put this Nebraska mix in. This is one of the smaller ones, but we'll take and just overseed it and get it set. And then probably around September 1st on all of these plots, so we'll go in and put about 100 pounds to the acre of winter rye on. And then maybe around October 1st or whatever, we'll layer in another 100 pounds per the acre. That always seems to work out really good because in the spring, it's one of the first things that always greens up. I'd love to have the greens for the deer right away in the spring. Spruce behind you, we've got white pine. But what happened in this area, we had everything was logged this winter, and they did an excellent job on doing select timbering of the wood. They left all of our big oak trees in here, which is exactly what we wanted. And this area right in here, we've been trying to grow the various pine trees for thermal cover for the deer in the wintertime. So
what does that mean?
So they have some place to stay out of the wind and cold when it gets to be 30, 40 below when it's snowing really bad in this part of the country.
So they'll come back and underneath all these pines?
Well, once these pines get a little bit bigger, that's the idea of it. And we've planted these over the last 15 years, and they haven't grown very well, mainly because there was so much shade here. But now since they logged it this last winter, it's just amazing how much these are already growing.
How old are these trees?
These are probably 5, 6 years old, to be honest with you. You can see some of the big white pines back there are probably closer to 15 years old, but they just really haven't taken off because there was so much overstory, so much cover that they had. Now with it open, I would imagine it should explode, and it should be a wonderful thermal cover area, overwinter area for the deer. Plus there will be a lot of new browse with the popples coming in here, the maple shoots coming in here. There's oaks that are coming here. There's a lot for them to browse. Should be a perfect area for winter feeding also.
Do they like this kind of mid area in between the swamp and high ground?
It's amazing how much they stay in this area. They really do. It's a perfect bedding area because when it's real wet and stuff, they don't typically go into the swamps unless they're under pressure, unless there's a lot of honey pressure and stuff in the skin. So otherwise, they'll stay in here. You'll see them in the oak trees quite a bit. Towards fall, when all the oaks, you can see all the oaks in here. When all these oaks start dropping the acorns, they'll be up in there. But it's not as thick. They like to cover in here. And this should be a nice thick cover. It should be a perfect bedding area.
Yeah. So not only is it good for the deer to have that thermal cover, but it also keeps the deer on this property. Is that right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And as you know, we've owned this property for 30 years roughly. And the deer numbers have went up and down over the years. A lot of that has been due to predators. But I think now with the emphasis we're doing on the food plots, the TSI, the timber stand improvements, the thermal cover areas, I think the food plots, it should be a wonderful, it should be a game changer for us.
Yeah, I mean, even the last 2 years we've seen more big deer than we have in the preceding 20.
Yeah. Well, so I think it's going in the right direction. obviously that little plot is going to require a lot of work come spring, but that's okay. This year it's given us enough time to put some soybeans in there, get the soil somewhat ready. We were able to spray the soybeans so it somewhat controlled our weeds. I should say it is controlling our weeds. We did spray this just today again, so there won't be any weeds in it. So it should be a good seed bed for the brassicas, and they should take off.
We've been talking about all the work that you've been doing out here, and it's got to be expensive. It's got to be expensive year after year doing the seed and the planting of the trees. And you talked about in the wintertime you put in corn and hay and things like that to keep the deer here. Is there a point where this farm starts to self-subsist itself, when it gets to a certain point where you don't have to have as much of that initial upfront investment? It'll kind of carry itself forward a little bit.
That's an excellent point. Excellent question. And the short-term answer is yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think we're finally getting to that. What costs a lot is every time when you put in a new food plot and you start and you have to put all the lime and all the fertilizer, do the soil tests on it. It's amazing how much the soil is so bad up here, how much lime and fertilizer, which fertilizer is super expensive, and that ends up, costing a lot. So I've been trying on a lot of these fields, we're trying to switch over to different types of products and where it doesn't require so much fertilizer, where it gets to be more natural. And that's part of the reason with the overseeding, with the winter rye and that that stuff is so good for not only good for the wildlife, but so good for the soils too.
Right.
So I think that's an excellent question. And then that TSI, timber stand improvement, like where we did the logging, is another huge factor, because no matter how many food plots you have, the deer still love the browse. I mean, you got to have plenty of browse.
Right.
So that's a big factor. And then also, when they did it, I'll have to give the loggers huge amounts of credit, because they did a lot of it for wildlife, not just to try and take all the timber off.
Right.
They did a lot for the wildlife. So they, on all of our high ground, they saved every oak tree that they could that wasn't damaged or looked like it had any issues. They saved all the oak trees, so we have all that mass, all those acorns and stuff coming that'll be able to come out of there, which is a big factor.
Which the deer obviously love in the wintertime for that protein and fat.
Turkeys too, and turkeys and bears.
Turkeys and bears, yeah. And your acorns up here, I think, are a pretty good size, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah, it's where down south on the coast, we have these like what we call like pin oak trees and stuff.
Okay.
And the acorns are not much bigger than the nail on my pinky finger. They're real small.
I have planted some pin oaks. They're not doing very well. We got I think only one left. We've planted a lot of swamp oak, which is part of the white oak family.
Yeah.
Now they just started producing. They're maybe 10 years old, 12 years old, 15 years old, something like that. They just started producing last year. We have a lot of red oak, and then we've planted a pile of white oak also, but we have mostly red oak here.
Right.
But I want to it'd be nice to have more of a diversification of it.
Yeah. Well, maybe over the next couple of years, you'll have this farm that's, sort of self-subsisting. You've planted, you've overseeded in a way that, keeps the nitrogen levels and the ammonia levels in the soil where they need to be to make sure that you get, regrowth year after year without having to invest so much in the seed.
And you'll find we have a lot of ponds. Like this pond has been here the whole time we've been here. The only thing we did is we cleaned up all the brush around it and we put a control level on it for the culvert, so it doesn't get too terribly high. But you'll find as you drive around, there's a lot of lower areas in here, and there's a lot of natural little ponds that we have in the area, which are also very beneficial to all the wildlife too.
Absolutely. Well, this is great. Thank you for showing me around. This is absolutely dream of a place. I mean, I could only dream of something like this one day. But I mean, I think that there's a lot of our viewers
would be interested to know, what goes in managing a property and how much time and effort. And it's a passion of love, right? I mean, it's a lot of work that you talked about. You're out here all the time doing this, and it's sort of belabors the point. You obviously you want to hunt this area and take good deer, but I think there is a passion and a love just taking care of the land that you own.
And seeing the deer and the birds and the turkeys and everything, the population grow, I think is a big factor.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, the just the wildlife that we've seen here out in the middle of the day has been incredible. So you must be doing something right.
When we come out tonight, you'll probably see a lot more.
Yeah, we'll show them.